Welcome to the Creative Masterminds podcast. You have Shawn Breeze in the house, and you also have
Cast Thrive. What's happening, folks?
yes, sir. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing good. You know how we do. We start with a weekend review, and then we talk about our subject for today. And the subject is from thought to reality. And so, what
Bang,
we're
bang.
going to aim to do in this episode, we are going to aim to provide practical advice on how you can take a thought, an idea, and then bring it into reality. Like we're gonna try to lay out our stuff that we have done in the past in hopes that it will hopefully, well, of course, in hopes that it will help you. And so, you know how we always do. Also, we always start with Cass with his weekend review. So, Cass, go ahead and tell the good folks what you did this past week, what you got done.
Been holding down the fam. Nah.
Yes, sir.
Coaching my classes, trying to give off that good energy to everybody,
Mm-hmm.
Let them know where I'm coming from, letting that presence come from me to them,
Mm-hmm.
get things done across all my classes with my kids, them in school, their extracurricular activities, football,
Mm-hmm.
boxing, all that type of stuff. So, man, just being me, trying to do that 100%, be a blessing to others, and let
True.
God, shine through me, day to day. That's how it goes.
That's a good point, man. Like when you said a blessing to others, that really resonated with me.
Yes,
Like
sir.
so with the job, I was able. Well, I didn't speak about the job that I got because we talked about the job thing that I got offline. So let me talk about the job. So
Let them know. Let them know.
I just got a gig to live stream a church conference. I did the same gig last year, or I did the gig last year, and they hired me again to do it. So I'm very thankful for that. This time they wanted to up the ante and have two cameras instead of one. And so right now I'm in the process of actually like trying to figure that out, like how can I execute that. I actually got the idea down. And so right now the equipment is being, flown to me via Amazon or driven to me via Amazon, so I can get the equipment and then run my tests and then make my adjustments and then before I execute the actual let me bring the camera down before I execute the actual job. And
No.
so I'm happy that with the opportunity that I was able to give my homie shout out to JJ3K Jeremy. I was able to give him like an opportunity as well and get him some money in the process so he can be my secondary cameraman as he, just make sure that the camera doesn't mess up. And so,
What up, Jeremy? What up? What up?
yeah, so we said like being a blessing to others. Like I think that's what it's like one of the key pillars and one of the most important things that you need to, you know, embed into your life. Like you need to
Yeah.
embed the mindset of once you receive a blessing, try to figure out a way how you can bless others with what you received, and that's how you keep blessings coming to you, in my
Yeah.
opinion. All
For
right,
sure,
so
that's
but
like the flow of life, man. You gotta keep it going.
for real.
We get blessed, and then get things that come our way, we receive, and then we should pass that on. I agree with you, bro.
Absolutely. True, true, true. So for my weekend review, the main thing I did this week was of course take care of the baby, take care of his poopy diapers and all that stuff. I made some beats for sure. And also I got back into coding. Coding was something I got into when I was a teen. Fortunately I went to a pretty cool high school that taught coding to young African Americans. And so I got a taste of coding and I fell in love with it at that
Nice.
time. But like really throughout the course of the years, whenever you work corporate America, especially if you like I'll say a person of color in general, they don't really stick you into the actual coding wise. So a lot of times people end up learning how to code in high school, college, or whatever. But when they get into the real field, they don't use the coding anymore. And so with that, you don't use it, you will lose it. Kind of like what happened with me with my Spanish. I stopped practicing my Spanish, then my Spanish became super duper trash. And so I said that to say that I kind of lost some of my coding ability, so I have gotten back into that. And what got me back into it was like building our websites, the Creative Masterminds podcast. website. Check it out. Oh, my bad. thecreativemasterminds.com. Check that out.
Yeah,
Free
yeah.
plug for ourselves. Um, me building websites got me back into coding, and so right now I'm trying to code the app that would help just really bring peace to my life. And well, it sounds crazy, but I'm gonna code the app that will allow me to do what I do, while I also spend time with family. Because one of the main things we have to propel ourselves in today's world is social media. And so I'm trying to code something that will help me, be able to work social media really well, while I also make sure that my family is taken care of. So I said it enough.
And you know what, man?
Yeah,
Just to add on to that, like I was just thinking, technology it should be to enhance life. You know, it
true. Yeah,
shouldn't be to bring us down like Instagram. If a person always gets down or sad
that's true.
when they're using that or something else, and they don't need to be using it because technology we should use that to enhance our lives, to free up more time, like how you're using it and different
Hmm.
things like that. So I don't know, I just
True.
thought
Yeah,
about
yeah, it's true. Like it's crazy. It's crazy the feeling that I got once I realized the power that I had. Like when I remember, it's kind of funny. Sidebar. Trying to be really quick. It's like I felt like I'm Simba, right? I feel like Simba. He goes off, and after his dad dies, he runs away and everything. Then he kind of goes off with you guys, and then he kind of loses himself, right? And he
that. Yeah.
forgets who he was, or forgets who he was. And so he goes. I feel like I came to the point where I remember who I was. Like, oh yeah, I'm a tech guy too. Like, because like not only like because I try to put myself in the box, or I think within society you end up growing to put yourself into a particular box. Like you have to
Yeah.
be either or. And so no, I'm a heavy music guy for sure. And I'm a heavy talker, on this podcast. But I'm also a tech guy. I also built computers when I was a kid. I also coded when I was a kid. And so that's another part of me. So when I got back to that, and then realized that, oh yeah, this is how I can automate things so I can free up time for myself. Oh, so I can spend more time with my family because that's what's most important. Oh, this is what God wants me to do. So let's do it.
Right.
All right.
That's
Anyway,
dope,
I
man.
talked enough, man. I talked like 50 minutes already.
No,
Uh,
no, that's what's up, man.
Go ahead and kick off the subject from thought to reality, and give your thoughts on how you bring things from thought, from your ideas into reality, and make them tangible things.
Most definitely. You know, the brain or the mind is so important, and it is like the foundation of almost everything that we do. You know, of course, we have our heart. We want to have that energy, that fight in us to get things done and all that. But the mind, that's where our thoughts, our dreams, so many things are centered. It's like the center media. Um, you know. Place of for center of media where you have a place where all the media is set up and then it distributes out, and that's pretty much how it is with the mind. Like
Mm,
from our actions, we think it first, and it's really that realm where that thought is, where we see it, and all of that is like it's in a place that can't be comprehended. Really, it can't be explained, and that's why I think it's like where we're like God, because we think first and then we act.
mhm,
Even those that just are more spontaneous and act more. When you go into the introvert, extrovert, or whatever. I mean, I don't really know how true all of that is, but it, in the mind, that's where it's super important. That's where we talked about in the past. That's like it's a field where we can plant and let things sprout and grow. It's like
mhm,
the area where soil. It's like soil. So
absolutely.
definitely, I mean the things that I do. I mean, you see, I got these books back there in the back. I got I'm setting up
Yeah, a little
my
library.
bookcase, yeah, back
Yeah.
there. I haven't put them in there, but we got to read and expand our minds to give us more ideas, inspiration, and creativity, and the praying, the meditating, those type of things.
Mm,
Those are the type of things that I do, and daily, and renewing my mind, like since I've gotten older, like the frivolous things and all that I used to do, like watching a whole bunch of TV, like the video games, the radio in the car, these things I cut because it doesn't benefit me. And that's the part of where I'm taking things in, so that would be my thinking and all of that. And those things affect the TV affects your thinking, the radio affects your thinking, the things that you read. These are these things that affect our thinking. And then if it affects our thinking, that means for sure it's going to affect our actions, what we do, how we respond to certain things, and how we communicate with others and all that. So, you know, that's a jump off right there, So what you
Oh man,
speaking?
you started with the fire already. Like, damn. I gotta get to it. All right, let's go. No. To your point, like, yeah, like what you're saying is essential. I know I say that all the time, like, because y'all always what you say is essential. But anyway, to respond to your point,
Yeah,
about like what you watch and what you take in, like what many people aren't aware of their subconscious and how powerful their subconscious is. I know we spoke about this offline for a little bit,
yeah,
and I need to read more books so I can be more scientific about that, about what I speak about the subconscious. But I know one thing for sure: the subconscious is very powerful. The subconscious is always working. It is working nonstop, and it is like one of the main reasons why many people have anxiety. Like many people, like I think I can give a good example. So I used to watch like the ID Discovery. I think that's the name of the channel. And the whole
mm-hmm.
murder channel or whatever. I used to watch
Yeah.
that all the time, right, as a kid, man. Or let's take it back. Let's take it what's that? Unsolved Mysteries. Let's take it back to there. So
Uh,
as a kid, I used to watch Unsolved Mysteries at night. But also as a kid had a lot of anxiety. Like whenever like my parents maybe like they would go out at night and be out late, whatever, and it'd be me and my brother or whatever, or me by myself at the crib for some reason, I'll be paranoid looking out the window thinking that some murder is gonna come get me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And I wasn't aware that the reason why I thought that was because my subconscious was constantly being programmed by this unsolved mystery that some killer is gonna come into your house and come kill you. And so the
Yeah.
same thing even happened with investigation discovery. Like I'll go pump gas at 9 o'clock at night and be like looking over my shoulder, like, oh, still gonna hey, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
freaking out, having
Yeah.
anxiety because
Yeah.
I program my subconscious to like just perceive things as a threat because I constantly kept watching these murder shows or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, but now I can take it. That's the negative. Like, if ever can happen if you aren't mindful of like your subconscious, and so I can take it to the other point where I became mindful of my subconscious and like was able to pick up Spanish rather quickly. Like people were really impressed how I was able to pick up Spanish like within like 6-ish months,
Mm-hmm.
because I did things like listen to Spanish in the car, watch Spanish shows, read Spanish books all the time. It just
Yeah.
made my whole world somewhat Spanish and just basically just really allow my subconscious to absorb all this Spanish. Even I will go to sleep with Spanish TV on, so I can just absorb Spanish, so I can dream in Spanish, whatever, and program my subconscious. And what I believe is like once you learn how to program your subconscious, you realize that at some point, what's in your subconscious will come out to your conscious mind. It's like
Right.
it's I think with a point like with your your mind is the soil, and seeds and everything, and like you can really think of your subconscious as really the soil, right? And
Yeah.
then like your mind, your thoughts, whatever, that's like the flowering plant or whatever, or the that's the flowers or whatever. I
They
don't
can
know. It
blossom.
sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It sounds
No,
crazy,
but
right?
man, to your point, like when you
Yeah.
said about the anxiety, man, that I think that really needs to be like checked out and really researched because that that's it. Whatever we've been putting in our subconscious, if you've been putting things that cause anxiety into your subconscious, then that's what's going to come out, and you don't know when, the weirdest times, and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you on that. That sounds, right on point, man.
Yeah. And I guess let me link that back to the subject of like bringing thought to reality. So, um, like yeah, let's say if you do want to learn a new language, whatever, and you want to make that reality, be mindful of your subconscious, be mindful of what you feed it. Or let's say you want to do what I do, which is to code something. Like, all right, I need to expose my mind to these things, so eventually my subconscious can start to figure things out, and then at some point in time, your conscious mind will come to the point where, like, all right, I understand what's going on, and I can utilize what I been taken in for a while, right? And so that's how I feel like
Yeah.
the subconscious work. Like I feel like the subconscious is like a supercomputer that works in the background, making constant calculations. And the thing is, you have to be very mindful of like how you can hack that and use that for your benefit, so you can take a thought that you have and bring it to reality. You know.
And that's it, man. And like what you were saying with my sons, like when they're sleeping and stuff, like I don't let them watch like Goosebumps and all that like scary stuff, you know, because at that age, I know at that age, I wanted to watch scary stuff. You think it's cool and all that, but you know, like YouTube on the phone, I make it a point to make sure that they don't watch that type of stuff because I don't want them running around the house scared to go
Mm-hmm.
use the bathroom, for us to be leaving. I don't want, because really that's fear.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, us being you know, made in the image of God, we shouldn't have any fear. We're here for a reason. Us just being here is you know, is you know, the odds of that are outrageous, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So you know, it's a blessing for us to be here. We're made in the image of God. We should eliminate those things that cause fear
Mm-hmm.
or anxiety
Mm-hmm.
or for us that limit us and for
Mm-hmm.
us not to reach our purpose and potential, because it's limitless really. We have no idea what God has in store with us, what our future, you know, what's in our future if we are in alignment in the right way and we're thinking in the right way, our thinking, because that really right there, our thinking will dictate the future and what reality happens. You know, our reality right now is from things that there goes one of them right there. Hold on. Close the door. Go on, buddy. Go. All right.
That's adorable.
I had a good point too. And but yeah, no, so
But,
you know what our thinking, it it will that what we're living right now is something that we thought and everything that was going on in our mind months back. And what
mhm,
we're thinking right now, what we think about ourselves and our reality and all that, it will manifest
mhm,
months down the road or weeks down the road or even quicker. I mean, maybe even like 30 minutes from now or whatever.
mhm,
So that's why the soil, the mind, the soil of the mind is so important. And we want to plant in those good thoughts, those
mhm.
future thoughts, those uh,
That's
money making thoughts, those helping other people, blessing
mhm.
people thoughts, you know. So
Yes, man. Yes, 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 yes. That's why we always say that you have to be very mindful of what you put into your mind.
definitely.
Like I'm like you, man. I make sure that I wake up. Now I'm proud of myself for the past 2 days, and I'm putting patting myself on my back. two
Yeah.
days, yes, you may be smaller people, but it's a start. I made 2 days in a row where I decided to just get up and prayed, saying meditated, and then I also did an outside meditation. So I made sure I did those, like, 2 days in a row. And I'm
Awesome.
going to make that a habit and ensure that I start my mind, I start my day with peace, right? And so you
Yeah.
can, I think when you start your day with peace, you're able to approach it in a more master like way, like almost like Bruce Lee, where you just like, okay, I'm just like I'm maneuvering through through the BS of the world with peace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I wanted to actually talk about, the what you spoke about of fear. And I want to say and let people know that fear is the opposite of faith. In my opinion, like if you fear things, then like you don't really have faith that. Well, okay, let me put it more in. Let me put it into a better context, because that sounds like way too broad. Like you fear things, you don't have faith. Let's say like let's put it into the context of like the journey of us, or me for sure, of the journey of trying to achieve what you desire to achieve in life, right?
Yeah.
And that, a lot of times we have moments where we have self-doubt. I have self-doubt at times. I had self-doubt like a couple of days ago, like, damn, like, am I making the right choice? Like, I felt guilty that I'm like enjoying my family instead of like trying to be like the super duper entrepreneur guy who's like out there trying to get money every day. Like, I gotta get money. Like, I felt guilty, like, which is terrible, that I felt guilty about being a family man instead of focusing on money, because that's what society tells you to, right?
Yeah.
And so, well, I realized at that point that I really, that showed that I didn't really have faith in the vision, in the goal, like, because I know God wants me to put my family first. I know God wants me to have, like, make sure that my family is taken care of, that my wife is good, my son is good, and everybody that's around me, my friends and my family that love and support me, that they're good. Like that, they are the main. They're the energy. They're the power. Power pack that help propel me to be the best version of myself. And so, and I had to be mindful of that, and not be fearful, like, that there will be one day where I will run out of money for not having the right priorities. And I feel like, I trust in God, and it took a lot of work that I had to, like, I'll go out at night on my patio and be like, hey, God, hey, please, hey, I need all the help in the world on this one, all the help. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, I ain't, I'm a humble myself. Like, hey, I can't do this shit by myself. Help me, help
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Screaming for help, praying for help, like T.I. said on Urban Legend. You know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, I realized that me being fearful was like me lacking faith, faith in myself and belief in myself, and also faith in God, and faith that the universe will work out in my favor if I stay with the right intentions and stay true to myself.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important element that you need to have. Uh, just just to have, to help you bring a thought to reality, because along that journey there will be times where you doubt yourself, but you have to have that faith, and push past the fear, and that you will eventually bring that thought that you had, saying, into reality. Bam, killed
Yeah.
that one. Whew.
Yeah, man. And I think doubt, we
Yeah.
of course it's not a good thing, but I think it can be good because it makes us sit back, will make us, communicate with God, or
Mhm.
for, a big something bigger than ourselves, and sit back and think about it. Okay, is
Mhm.
this the right decision? Like,
Mhm.
instead of just jumping in and not being cautious, it helps us to be cautious. So I think that's,
Mhm.
you know everybody has it, and it's there for a reason. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? We don't it 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 could lead to us making the wrong decision, but in the end, if we keep going with it, it will be the right decision.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if we keep going through, we will find the right way and get there.
Course.
So I think it can be helpful, but that's it, man. That's 100 though. That that the mind and how we think, it's we got to use that as a tool,
Mhm.
and you know really we can
Mhm.
manipulate what is to come, those things that we really want, by our thinking. It's that powerful. Like, with my son, like, before he goes to school, it's almost like a ritual now, like, where on the drive to school, I sing to him, a little, first we say, like, this is a day that the Lord has made. We sing that. And then another song where I tell him he repeats after me, that he's strong, that he's healthy, that he believes in himself, that he's wealthy. These things, like, I just made a song out of it. So we sing that daily, and that's embedded in his subconscious, because if I start singing it or whatever, it's embedded. It's
Mhm.
already, he already knows, or he'll start singing it.
Mhm.
So, that's in him from an early age. And then I just, sometimes I'm dry. I'm thinking, like, when he's older, I would hope that he still, does that, but it's in there, like, from an early age, that's setting his foundation. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really important. And while I'm singing it with him and all that, I'm like, well, shoot, this is also affecting me because I'm singing it too. So it's getting in my subconscious
True.
as well.
True.
So, I think that's important. We definitely want to use the subconscious as a realize that it's a blessing if we use that right. And it's not that hard of a thing to do to strengthen our subconscious to the point where it will benefit us and make reality in a positive, good way, if that's what
Hmm.
we're feeding. It's not
Hmm.
that hard. It's just about focusing and doing it, taking the time to do it. you know
Hmm.
Stop watching TV or
That's
whatever,
true.
limit it, and
Hmm.
then attack your subconscious and see how it changes for a month, or a week or whatever. Just try it out. And you got to be consistent with it, though. That's the thing.
That's true. Consistent, persistent, because yeah, that's super major, man. Super major. Made me think about like the fact that you had that song that you sing or you have your kid sing it and that you sing to your kid, man. I think that's beautiful. I think that's dope. I think that's smart and intelligent way to like embed things into a young one's mind because of
Right.
course with songs, songs frequencies and they have the ability the magical ability, I would say, to stick.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter if a person have dementia,
Yeah.
Alzheimer's. They have a song, they will know the song.
Yeah.
That's power. That's how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Music is strong enough to defeat dementia. I mean, like you get what I'm saying. I'm saying like it's
Yeah.
strong enough to like withstand the rigors of like mental deterioration where it can still stick. And so
It'll
that's
put it
power.
stamped down in the mind.
Yeah.
It'll stamp there. Yeah.
Yeah, and so right, so that means like like you said, yeah, you're embedding things deep into his subconscious that he will probably at some point don't know that he won't notice that he's doing things because that's embedded into his subconscious. Like, and
Yeah.
that's the power of the subconscious for sure. I know we got get back into the
Yeah.
subconscious talk, but I'm just like really, really fascinated with it. And because I'm not sure if I mentioned this earlier, but I did see like a documentary called the Mind Explained. I know I mentioned it off air, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I mentioned it on the podcast. But there's this documentary on Netflix called The Mind Explained, and I would highly recommend people check that out because it's just very informative. It's very cool. It's very scientific. They just talk about studies that they have done on the mind, and like they have different categories that they cover. They cover dreams. They cover anxiety. They cover what else? Memories. How memories work, and like because one interesting thing, I'm bringing this up. Hopefully this can help somebody. Talking about memory, so they had this lady there who like they gave her like a sheet of like maybe 500 numbers, like a ridiculous amount of numbers to remember in like
Hmm.
30 or 10 minutes, whatever, some crazy amount of time, right? And so the trick that she did to remember those numbers, because she was able to remember all of those numbers,
Yeah.
the trick that she did was just so fascinating because like what she did, she converted the numbers into letters, right? And so like she said, let's say like the first three numbers spelled to her sag, right? So she said, all right, sag, right? And so she'll then create a story like, all right, a saggy man. And then the next three words would be like TBB. And so she associated TBB with Tabbouleh because Tabbouleh is spelled like TABB. And so
Hmm.
she said, all right, a saggy man was covering Tabbouleh. And so she used that as a method to maintain memories of like what these numbers are and wherever, and then she would just convert them. And I just thought that was like so fascinating because that just shows that our minds really react to stories really well. Our
Yeah.
minds react to what we relate to already. Um,
Emotions. Yeah.
yeah, emotions as well. And one thing that she did too, like so she created this story and then she had the story mapped to something that was like very familiar to her, which was her walking around her neighborhood. And so she said, all right, I came up on 6th Street, I saw a sagging man covered in tabbouleh and he was eating beans. I don't know, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she created a story to help her, uh, help her embed something into her memory. So I just thought that like so fascinating. So yeah, check that out on Netflix. A lot of cool things.
Yeah, man. Quick Brain. There's a guy that does that. He's worked with like actors, actresses, and stuff, and he, pretty much works on memory. And I watched a couple of his podcasts and all that, and he actually has a test like where he has see if you can remember like the first 12 elements of the periodic table, and he does it through a story.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually did it, but I didn't stick with like that process. But he shows you how it works, and it's very similar to what you were just saying. Like he made a story out of the first letter of each element,
Mm-hmm.
and you make a story like with hydrogen and like with the balloon going up and all this type of stuff. And I remembered it for like 3 or 4 days, and then I stopped going back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So with your memory, you got to go back to it, like just to rehash to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it down. I was amazed though. Like, yeah, it's quick, KWIK Brain,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't think of the guy's name, but he's pretty well known, and he works. He says that everybody has good memory. You just got to know how to use it, like how to
Exactly.
maximize it, and that's what he
Exactly.
like goes over, maximizing your memory. So
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Kat. So, like, do you have anything else you want to add to the subject for today before we wrap up the show? I think we are like 30 minutes in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, my main thing would just I would suggest that everybody think about their mind and how they can maximize their thinking positively, thinking of first off thinking what they want to change in their lives, how they can make their lives better, and then incorporating those type of thoughts. Like I have a little note card where I write, it's my renew my mind. I put that at the top, and I
Mm-hmm.
go over these things um, and try to say it, at least 3 times a day or whatever. And those things have actually come to pass, like with the boxing classes, the training the kids, and also back to the subconscious, with the kids that I train, I tell them, repeat after me. I am a champion. So now whenever I say I am a champion, they yell it back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, these kids, I like in the future, I want to see like how that affects them. If that like every time they hear in the future something about a champion or whatever, does that bring them back that memory? Like, because I have them yell it out and really like, I'm a champion. So they believe that they're a champion, early on. These,
Mm-hmm.
kids from like 5 to like maybe 10. So, it's just super important. I would say everybody, get those good, prosperous, thriving, type of thoughts in your subconscious mind, those type of things, and you know, from there, take that to your reality, to actions, and act.
Mm-hmm.
From there. So
True, absolutely true, man. Facts. What do I have to add? Um, just usual. Always be mindful of your subconscious. Be mindful of what you put into your mind at all times.
yeah,
Yeah, I like your statement about like jotting things down, like notes and stuff like that. I think you made a statement about that.
yes,
I think
sir.
that's like very essential, like taking things from your mental and bringing it into the physical, so you can just essentially download your thoughts into like onto something, and so you can then it becomes visual to you, and then you can just like maneuver what you need to maneuver to solve whatever problem that you need to solve. Like for example, like with the new with the gig that I got coming up, I had to solve the issue of all right, how do I stream wirelessly without it being lagged to like the end user? And so and like having to do research, like all right, this is I had to write down like all right, what equipment do I already have? What do I need to occur for it to like go through flawlessly? I wrote it out on a notepad and then just
Yeah.
mapped it out, and then I came up with my solution, and then now I got my solution coming to me. We'll see if it works. If it works, it works. If not, it's a lesson that I learned, and then I can just readjust and become better the next time. That's one thing
Right.
for sure. Like Yeah, with life, man, stop. I'll say I would encourage people to just stop taking things um like well, I think Curtis King kind of said it best because I was on a call with Curtis King last night. Everything is practice, right? Everything is like an opportunity for you to become, to exert your best at that time, and then you'll see how your best work out at the time, and then you will identify areas of improvement that you will need to improve upon, and then just keep trying to improve. That's the whole point. Just look at life like with that type of vision, and that's how I look at life. That's how I try to look at life. I feel like that allowed me to not take life as personal. I take life more as like just a long, well, not long, but a cool journey that will allow me to exercise my spirit and just try to become like the best version of myself. And I try not to just take things like it's going to be doom and gloom. Like if, like for instance, like I had for some reason I procrastinated on actually getting to like the guy that I'm working for, like getting him his invoice, because for some reason I was fearful of like he was going to reject the price I was going to quote him.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to get out of the mindset of like, all right, if he does, so what? So what?
Right.
Not all right. So you're saying that this guy has the power to determine if you're going to be successful in life or not? No, this is God.
Right.
Stop, stop it. And so I had to tell myself that. I had to check myself. Um, so yeah, man, just yeah, look at life as like an opportunity that you can become better. And if if you fail, it's not really a failure. Look at what you can improve upon and then improve upon it. It's that simple. So that's it. That's
Most
all I got.
definitely.
All right. So with that said, this has been the Creative Masterminds podcast. Cass, go ahead and give out your socials.
Yeah, yeah. You can reach me on Instagram at CAS_THRIVE. Also at the Boxing Bell, and also on Facebook. Probably gonna add some more to it. I've been kind of slipping on the Boxing Bell, but I'm gonna revamp it and get that going for y'all. So I'll let you
Podcast,
boy.
podcast.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about this. We talked about this
YouTube.
in private, but like, man, it's like what? I am so gung ho on podcasts, and like I see Joe Budden and what he does with podcasts. Him being able to travel with his
Yeah.
homies and talk to people randomly across the world. I imagine this is the vision I have for us, man. Well, if you like to join in on this vision, I give you a choice. A vision like, man, we can be like, all right, every week we end up podcasting at some place. Like we can go to Berlin and do a podcast, and then all right, we spend the whole week with the
I'm
fam.
there, dude. I'm there.
Spend the whole week with the fam,
Yeah.
chilling. We just do one podcast, get our Skrilla for the week, or probably we're gonna be more than that. We're gonna get our Skrilla, and then we're gonna just vacation with the fam and do it every. You know, what I'm saying that's how life can be if we choose to want that life.
Yeah.
So that's vision that I'm having. So I'm love podcasts. So that's why I say like, hey, Cass, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do a boxing podcast. Just do it, man. You know what I'm
For
saying? But
sure.
anyway,
Yeah.
for me, SeanBreeze.com, BreezeLifeMedia.com, TheCreatorMasterminds.com, Sean Breeze at at Sean Breeze on Instagram, OG Sean Breeze on Facebook, OG Sean Breeze on Twitter. And I'm pretty sure that's it. Sean Breeze on SoundCloud too. I got some raps up. Um, and what else? That's it. Yeah, and like I said, you can find like I said on the last podcast, you can find all of our information like the creative mass at thecreativemasterminds.com, like where we are on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Yeah, and that's it. So
Most
yeah.
definitely.
Anything else? We good? Be good?
Shoot, I just let them know, hey, we gonna come hard by the end of this year.
Uh
This
huh.
podcast, we coming at y'all real hard. So y'all stay
Yeah.
tuned.
For sure, for sure. And thank you guys for rocking with us for sure. We do appreciate it for sure. All right. So
Definitely.
this has been the Creative Masterminds podcast, and we are out. Peace.
Peace.